It's the
Leaving it
truth,
all
dude.
in.
And like, I'll be real with you. I've had the Baconator several times since that incident,
There you go.
so it didn't it didn't dissuade me
Yes.
at all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Baconator gives us
What up?
diarrhea.
Got you more of Wendy's.
There you
Yes.
go, dude.
All right, hey guys, welcome
What?
back to another Doofus video. We're getting right into it. I'm leaving all that diarrhea Wendy stuff in. And did you know first 11 seconds YouTube watches us, so we're waiting for 11 and then we can cuss.
True. Yeah.
Fuck!
After 11 seconds. That's the number.
All right, so today we
I don't
got
curse.
Spooky. Everybody knows Spooky, and we got the new guy on the channel, new guy down there. We got Incredible Cuh. What's up, Cuh?
Yo,
His real name is George,
what's up?
but he doesn't like to be called George.
Actually, my middle name. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. That's the truth.
The second.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, all right, cool. You like nailed
It's
it.
kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So, Cuh, he wants to question some CDH guys. That's why we got Spooky, and I'm just here to watch Spooky talk about tournaments. Cuh's getting into
You have
tournaments.
lots of questions.
Yeah, Cuh's getting into tournaments, and he just has so many questions. And then I've been talking to him. Like, there is a lot that no one really talks about. Unless you go to a tournament, there's a lot. Like, one of the questions are going to be, how do you call a judge? Like, how do we not tell the new people that, right, without them going to a tournament, right? So we're going to a tournament, I believe, next Saturday in 10 days, 10, 11 days. So Spooky's going to answer Cuss questions, and we're just going to go from there. And this whole pod is for the beginner. I'm going to tell every beginner, watch this video. Cuss got all the questions. Spooky's got all the answers. So, Spooky, how you been?
Good, man. I've been enjoying life playing Magic.
Yeah,
It's
you've been
great.
kicking ass at Rock Thrash, I see.
Kicking ass is one of the words for it. I've been playing the deck.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bids me well, sometimes it does not.
Yeah, that deck's fucking insane in the membrane.
But it's great. I love it. It's so much fun.
Dude, that's awesome. Great seeing you again. Cuh! Rob,
What's up?
Robert, George. When did you get into Magic? And then when and why CEDH?
I mean, I've been playing Magic probably on and off for like a decade, but it's always been standard, you know? And then large hiatuses in between because I fucking get angry at blue. And, you know, and I moved down to Florida in fucking October, I guess. And that was when I got into Magic. I delivered some food to the shop and they were like, yo, you should play Magic. And I was like, I should play Magic. You're right. And then I started playing.
Oh, okay.
And then I guess Commander's where it's at. So, you know, it took about a couple months before I was like, I want to play this, like, I want the best decks. I want to play the best decks. Let's do that, you know, because it's the most, you know, it's not fun knowing that, like, you think you made this sick ass deck. And then there's this whole format where there's just absolute savages playing the most crazy shit. $2,000 cards. Like, let me get after that, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
First time I met you, you were like, hey, I got this fucking Eldrazi commander. What do you know about this Eldrazi commander? I was like, come into my office. That's the kind of
You're like,
shenanigans I like.
You're like, step into my office. And then you were like, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not CEDH, but.
Yeah, the deck's dog shit. Now you convinced me it is a deck now. But
Hey.
Zuladoc will be. We're trying to get Mahali in here. That's going to be a whole nother video.
I think that'll be really good.
That deck is insane.
It is very cool. I've seen the list around.
Yeah, no, it's getting wild, and Cuz going crazy with it. Also, I got to plug June 28th in Leesburg, Florida, Central Florida. I'm having the first real, actual Doom of Fools tournament, and I want to let everybody know. I know, like, Spooky, you live in, like, Tennessee, right? But I want to let everybody know I'm going to do max 32 players. If we get more than 16, I might throw Volk Island in there. I don't know yet, but I'm trying to get some people in. Let's fucking get it, and then Cuz just going to kill us with Slicer. I can't wait. So let's get into it, man. Go ahead and start spitfiring questions. Spooky, the floor is all yours, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. And then let's kind of do this thing. What's your first question, Cuh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to frame the conversation a little bit, you know, it's not going to be like where we're, you know, it's from a beginner's perspective, sort of, but obviously not like the what is CEDH talk. Like, you've got other videos on that. This is more like you've committed to CEDH already, and like now you're trying to go to some tournaments, and there's like some nuances to it because it's a community format, right?
Yeah.
And so while there are rules, it's not all spelled out for you. And amongst local shops, some of it's kind of contentious and stuff like that. And it can be a pain in the ass sometimes, I guess, to like get it going in your local and get yourself ready to play a tournament, depending on like where you're at. So that was like really the first thing I wanted to ask you guys was kind of like just the general presenting CEDH to your local, getting into it, that kind of stuff, and just like the framework of like tournaments, I guess. So I think a good question to start with would be something along the lines of what exactly are the biggest CEDH tournaments that are played each year?
Okay. I
Sure.
okay. Well, I think
Go
before
ahead.
we get into that, I think what you're trying to ask is, hey, I've been playing CDH for a while. What's the difference of me playing CDH at my LGS and tournament CDH? And that is when we can get into how bigger tournaments. So there's a lot to unpack there. But what is the biggest tournament? I think I went to the Boyle. Do you remember, Spooky? Like
The
305, I
biggest
think.
event I'm pretty sure that's happened is the Boyle 2
Yeah.
at 300 plus. I don't know the exact
And the
number,
Tennessee
but
event last weekend was like 296. But that's like every 6 to 8 months, maybe twice a year. People are trying to do.
yeah.
There's going to be a 20K in Pennsylvania. That'll probably be 350, 400 people. Like 2 years ago, the biggest tournament was a 10K. And then there's probably been 6, 7, 10Ks a year. And then starting this year, we've gotten to almost 15Ks, and we're going to have a 20K.
Yeah, it's growing. The
So
10K, 20K, that's money? $10,000
in
is what you're saying?
prizes.
And
There's
that's the
Yes.
there's
in
ten
prize.
Yes.
thousand dollars in cash prizes. So first would get
Okay.
like 1,500, second would get like 900, third would get 400. Like when you top 16, that's the biggest thing in tournaments. You want a top 16, everybody takes the picture, and they always say whoever's in that picture gets money, right? If you
Yeah,
top
yeah, yeah.
16, you
Yeah.
get money, right? And I think 16th will at least get their like money back or whatever. But like you got to think these
Right.
10Ks, the entries are $100, right? So.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the scope of it. Like, where's the ceiling at? You know what I mean? And I wanted to tie it to proxies too, because there's proxies are like a super contentious subject when
Mhm.
you're getting into CEDH, particularly if you're playing like casual in your locals, and then you're like, all right, I want to move into CEDH, but there's $2,000 cards. I'm not about to spend $2,000 on a single card. I need a proxy, and then you encounter a lot of people that are like giving you pushback about that. Like, so the point of me asking about like the biggest tournaments was going to be to lead into how many proxies do these big tournaments allow? Are even those tournaments allowing full 99 or full 100 proxies, or is there some kind of limitation?
Usually, in my experience, the deck can be full proxy as long as they are like wizard's art, like recognizable art by WotC.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a limit to 20.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a limit to 20 proxies, which is usually sort of your like reserved list slots or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but most of the time, the full deck can be proxied out.
There is a
Even at these 10Ks.
yeah, but there is a caveat. So pretty much it's on the TO. It's on the tournament organizer. They make up the
Yeah.
rules, you buy the ticket, and whatever the rules say. So Spooky's right, like Top Deck was the biggest one, which they don't do anymore. They were 100 proxies, 100 printer proxies, but you know the things that you could write on, the cards they give you that you can write on. You can have up to 10 of those. And that's
Really?
most of the 10Ks. So caveat is if you see SCG cons or anything like a Magic Con Orlando, any event that is run by Wizards, that is not
Yeah.
proxy friendly. If they find a proxy in your deck, you are kicked from the tournament.
But are Wizards running CEDH tournaments?
Yes, but only Wizard, like SCG cons, Star City Game cons, like anything you see, like we're going to Magic Con Atlanta, that is run by Wizards. So there will not be any proxies for that. But 90% of the big
Really?
CDH tournaments aren't Wizards. Wizards has not adopted CEDH yet. But since the unbanning
Okay.
and them actually talking to us, they're actually acknowledging CDHs and CDHs bracket 5. So that's huge for Commander players, for CDH players, because a year ago we were the step kids, and then the ban shit happened that blew the Magic world apart. Like the bans were for CDH. Like we were bitching about it. It was a big deal. Some people try to do it, some people try not to do it, and then they just banned Dockside. They didn't ban Dockside for casual. It was for us. So now Wizards is like, okay, CDH players, we see you. We see we can make money from you. So now they are doing 5Ks. The biggest Wizards tournament I see for CDH are 5Ks. Like it's not a lot of money. I think first place gets like $500-600, right? Like maybe not. I don't remember. I just went to the one in Charlotte. They're having one in Orlando in 2 months. Right. But those are 100% if you bring a proxy and you get deck checked, you're kicked from the tournament. But yes,
So when you go to Magic Con Atlanta, you're not going to be able to bring proxies
you
at all.
cannot bring proxies. Nope. It is not.
Damn.
Not
That's
to the
crazy.
actual events, though.
Right.
All
So
right.
so that's a
I
whole
gotta stay
nother
away from
thing.
those, I guess.
Like Command Fest, right? Like Command Fest Orlando.
Yeah.
It's all about Commander. Obviously, you're gonna have proxies, but the sanctioned events, you can go to Command Fest Orlando with your best buddies and play with the guys from Playing with Power Play to Win. I'm sure no one's gonna say anything about your weird proxies. But if you go, hey Wizards, here's my $20. I want to enter into a Commander tournament or enter into this event. You cannot play proxies in the sanctioned Wizards event.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
again, the
Yeah.
big tournaments like the 20K, the 10K, the one at Sky High that we're going to go to, all that is 100% proxy friendly.
The vast majority of them. Yeah, all right,
Yep.
I got you.
Yep.
Well, so while on the subject of proxies, what do you think about, like, do you have any advice, I guess, on handling the pushback you get from your locals regarding proxies? Like, maybe that's not a problem everywhere. It's not really a big problem here in particular or anything like that, but there is a lot of, I think initially there's always a lot of pushback. It feels like if your community is just kind of getting started with CEDH, and I
Because
feel like
it's,
that's probably where a lot of like small game shops are at. It's
yeah.
like their CEDH players are just starting to find each other and be like, we want to play CEDH, you know?
That's really a Commander thing,
So
right, Spooky? Like, I feel like 60 card, they don't, not really any 60 card tournaments like RCQs, they don't allow proxies. Commander's really the only format that kind of is trying to popularize it. But Spooky, what do you think about that? Like,
Yeah,
like in your local,
there
yeah.
are some like local legacy and vintage events that at least here that allow proxies, but for the most part, most tournaments that's not Commander don't allow proxies. Yeah, so um, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because my local was always very proxy friendly.
really?
I
Um,
I just want to
but
clarify
they've
too. I didn't mean
yeah.
local tournament. I just meant like your local game shop. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
No, you're
sure,
right.
sure,
There
So like,
sure.
is in Claremont, 30 minutes away from us. They don't allow proxies in their shop because what happens is,
yeah,
well, maybe like a paper proxy, but you know how people have like real looking proxies or like weird looking proxies? They don't like those in the shop because sometimes they get sold back to the shop. So there are some owners, you will get kicked out if they see a proxy. But now, since Commander is the most popular format and it's the biggest money format, now people are starting to open their eye. Mark, our guy, LGS, he used to not allow proxies because there's a lot of real looking proxies. Somebody sold the
mhm.
store Survival of the Fittest. And the
Oh yeah,
only
that
way to
happened
tell
recently
it
too.
was fake, it was you had to do the 3 dots on the back. Other than that, it looked 100% real. Right, so that's why proxies are getting pushed back. But now the old heads and the store
I
owners are starting to open up.
I do think the difference between proxies and counterfeits should be noted, right? Like
Right,
counterfeits have the magic back, they have all of that sort. There should be
right.
something on the card that notes, "Hey, this is a proxy."
Yeah,
Whether
that
it's
makes
in
sense.
like the back of the card being like, let me get an example,
Yeah, no, I got you. I got one too. And
Yeah,
like this. Like this is what I use, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
they say proxy on the back, right?
or if it's a
yeah.
piece of
Um,
paper in front of a card, like we know that's a
for
proxy.
sure, yeah,
But
that's
but
definitely
some
a
LGSs
proxy.
don't like that because they're like, why are you in my shop and you're not spending money? You're just here, not
Exactly.
spending any. So
You're just
it
yeah.
is it's more
What
of an old head thing, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Right.
what my LGS has found is that by allowing proxies, they have sold more singles because their players are testing out these decks
Right,
and they're finding out what they like.
100%.
And once they find out they like, they buy the singles that they want, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
That's
good
that
what
point.
my local has found
yeah,
out. Maybe
especially with
you can
commanders.
express that.
Yeah, before I had a
Yeah.
printer 3 years ago, I would spend so much money on TCG Player, not getting like the big stuff like Mana Crypts, but I would spend $300 on getting all my cards, and then I play the deck 3 times, and I don't like the deck. And then I try to
Yeah.
sell them, and I try to trade them, and then I try to do this, and then I try to make another deck, and you lose so much money doing that. And it's especially like the nice cards, right? Why would I spend $100 on the best card of my deck, say whatever Mox Opal or whatever it is, if it's only just for this deck? So hey, let me proxy it up and see if I like the deck first. That's the whole point of the proxies. We don't want to play against your wallet. We want to play against you. And that's like the
Yeah.
CDH, that's the CDH
Mindset.
mindset. We want,
That's the tough sell.
so the biggest thing too I want to talk about a little bit is the rules. How many times have we played somebody, Cuh, and they're like, hey, do you guys allow the free mulligan? Or what about this? What about that? It's like, hey man, we're
Yeah, people
using
just don't even know.
Commander is Commander. CDH is Commander just at the highest level. And that's the biggest misconception.
Mhm. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I did have one other question actually though about the like the local scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people are getting into it, like beginners and new people, and like if you look at our local, right, like there's 4 or 5 people that are getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would you say, like? I guess there's a couple situations that can come up. Like for example, like still on the subject of proxies in a way, like the people's hesitancy to adopt proxies, or like when people are like showing up to CEDH and they're
Mhm.
just convinced that they can play their bracket 4 like high power casual deck, and they're like, oh, like you know what I mean? Like when the group is making that transition, it seems to be like, at least sometimes it seems like it's like a bit of a slow kind of like rough transition where like you have to convince people like, no bro, it's okay for you to put proxies in your deck, just get over that stigma,
Yeah.
and know your bracket 4 commander is not going to cut it. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but sometimes I almost feel like in a way like it's a disservice to the other people that are trying to practice CEDH if you just keep bringing in like a bracket 4 deck over and over again, even though we're asking you to play bracket 5. But that's like a really contentious thing to say. Like if you say that to people, if like a dude with like a upgraded precon's like, can I play at the CEDH table? And you're like, yo, no offense, we're trying to practice CEDH.
Right.
Like
That's
that's
the
a
hard.
contentious thing. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to do that,
That's the hardest thing
So
for CDH players is it makes it simple for the brackets. Hey, I have a bracket 3. What are you trying to do? No land destruction. I have a bracket 4. I have combos. Don't have combos. Blah, blah, blah. Ours is
yeah.
we have CDH decks. All 4 of us have CDH decks, and we're trying to win. That is our bracket. So if your deck is not trying to win and it's just doing the thing, we're gonna do you a disservice, and you're gonna do us a disservice. Not saying that you're not going to win, but our decks aren't for you at all. Like, you don't even know what Ristic
Yeah.
Study is, and the whole format is around Ristic Study. And then also, the flip side of that is you probably play weird removal like Despark that we've never seen
Yeah.
before. And it's not even, when I tell you, like, there's 3 levels, right? You have Casual Commander, right? Well, I guess there's 4 levels. Casual Commander, High Power Commander, right? Right before you put the combos in. Then you have CDH, and then you have Tournament CDH. Those are all, to me, different formats. It's 100% different. It's not like, I'm excited for you to go to tournaments and you're gonna be like, oh, timing is a thing. I've been sitting here in the same chair for 6 hours because I just played a 2-hour game. I was the last game in the round. As soon as my game's over, the next round's called. Now I have 5 minutes to get to my chair, take a piss or get a drink, and then play another 2-hour game. So there's 4 or 5 hours where you haven't moved, you haven't had a drink, and that's a whole. Wounded Satellite right now is getting a lot of kickback because he was recorded on the video of the top 16, and they're like, oh, he has to be cheating because he made all these misplays. It's like, that's a 4-hour game and he messed up his breach line, so yeah, he's going to keep messing up after that because it's a 4-hour game, right? People are thinking he's cheating, and no, he's just fucking up. And that's something that people don't understand. And that's why I think with Spell Table, oh, I have all these Spell Table games. It's like Spell Table games and tournament games aren't even the same thing. You're in your pajamas, bro. Like Spell Table, even
Yeah.
Bro,
there's
I'm
Spell
gonna be in
Table
my pajamas
tournaments.
in tournament too, dude.
Yeah,
What do you
right.
mean?
No, me too.
You think
Yeah,
you think
no,
I'm not rocking gym shorts to that shit? Are you out of your mind, bro?
no, me
In
too.
a tank,
I'm
dude?
gonna wear
What I
American
do.
onesie. Yeah,
Yeah, yo, you better, dude. An America onesie, bro.
I'll think
I
about it.
feel like your whole wardrobe is just America,
I
bro.
got
Like the
American
whole thing.
onesie. I'll fucking whip it out.
I believe you. I believe
All
anytime
right.
you tell me you have an America something, dude, I believe it, dude.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
That just seems like a
anyways,
common pushback that you'll get
yeah,
when you engage with that conversation. You'll
that's
be like, "Oh yeah, but we're trying to practice CDH," and then the bracket 4 players will be like, "Well, my deck has beaten CDH decks before. I can play." And it's like, "Well, yeah,
yeah.
like it's a 4-player format. Like, yes, you can beat a CEDH pod with
Yeah.
your
We
deck. It just there's this weird gray area where it's really hard to explain
we had a
why
guy in our
they shouldn't play
Discord.
with you.
He was
You
like,
know?
"Hey, instead of making me a deck, can you just print me the Mox Diamond, the Mox Opal, the Chrome Mox, the blah 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 to make my Golgari deck CDH?" And I was like, "Well, that's not how that works." But I did it for him. So then he's like, "Oh, you're right. It doesn't make it a CDH deck." I'm like, "No, you can't just throw mana rocks in your regular bad commander deck because your commander isn't CDH. Like there's ceilings to decks, right?" But I agree, Kel. Like that's the hardest part. Like, I'm trying to build a community. I'm doing tournaments. That is the hardest part of, hey guys, I have 10 sleeved up paper proxy CDH decks for
Yeah.
beginners. And 99% of the time, people go, ew, I want to play my deck. Oh, well, that
They
deck
want to make
lost.
their own,
I
bro.
want to play my other deck. And it's like, bro, your fucking 5-color Tiamat deck is not
Yeah.
built for this. Like, respectfully, Tiamat's a CDH commander, but your deck, you're probably 50 cards off. And that's not fair for anybody. But that is the biggest pushback, you're right, is, hey, bro, I'm playing this deck and da-da-da-da. It's frustrating.
Spooky, have you had has there been any like new players getting into CDH in your local that you've had to explain to like no bro, you really got to proxy some Mox Diamonds, you really got to like ramp this deck up for bracket 5 and like get over the stigma of not using proxies and just like actually make it that, like, have you had any experience with that where you've like gotten through to some people and been like, all right, cool, now they're on our page, they're playing CDH, or has it just not been a problem in your local?
Usually the problem is solved only after they actually play with us and understand, right?
Yeah.
So I invite them in, I let them play, they see what we're doing, and they eventually try to adapt to that, right? And I try and help them out along the way, but that's usually how our local kind of goes with people who are trying to get into CDH. They either play in it and go, I don't really like this, I don't want to play this, or
Yeah.
they go, I do really like this and I want to adapt my deck to go this far. And a lot of times they'll try with the deck they're playing now, right? Because they
Yeah.
like that deck or whatever. And if we can push it that far, great. Like, I mean, I did that with Pantlaza, right? It was awesome. I love that deck to death, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
it still has a ceiling, you know.
Mhm.
And the
Right.
same as with like what Steelers was saying with any other deck, like certain commanders just have ceilings that can't go that far.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Um,
you've cooked with Panalaza. Like, don't cap, dog.
it still has a ceiling though,
Well,
right?
I'm
Like,
with you, but
yeah.
you've shit on some fucking blue farms in your day. Like that deck is
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
but it's not like take some really good high power commanders like Dragon, Edgar Markov, Marin. None of those decks, I don't care what you do, are going to be CDH because they all have ceilings. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, you could probably take a generic 5-color deck, right, and just put all the CDH stuff in it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But that's just, we're talking about Slicer. I feel like Slicer is a really, really good kitchen table CDH deck. But when you
Slice is my
start
dude,
taking it
bro.
to tournaments, that's a whole nother ball game. But
I'm
Slicer
doing it,
fucking
bro.
every game I played against Slicer, it has been, hey guys, stop what you're doing and let's kill this goddamn stupid robot. That it was a fucking mistake, but it's awesome, right? But in CEDH tournaments, it's like it's a whole nother ball game. But that's the difference. But anyways, what was your
Slicer's the coolest
Yeah,
deck in CDH.
it's sort of
Straight
like
up.
what I've always called like the Winota effect, right? Where that kind of deck sits down at the table and the whole game is already changed
Yep.
from the get-go.
Winota is
Yeah.
still good, but no one plays it because it gets removed. It is the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Winota is still broken in every single way. That deck is crazy if you leave it alone. But that's the problem, is people don't leave it alone because, you know, that's what's going to happen to Vivi is I literally cast Vivi, Arcane Signet, it got Deadly Rollick. And I'm like, bro, I was passing. Can you just do it on his end step instead of my main phase? Because what if he just wins, right? They're like, nope, fuck Vivi, Deadly Rollick. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Dude, we played a game with Lane the other day where he was on Yuriko, and somebody was playing Winota, and he somehow copied Winota and turned her into a ninja on his board, and he got so many triggers between Ninja and then Winota's triggers that he drew 32 cards and made 16 treasures in one attack phase. It was fucking nuts, and he won
Yeah.
the game,
And this is like a
obviously.
casual
But
CDH player too. Like that's just
yeah,
how
dude.
busted Yuriko is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
what's the next question you got, dog?
Well, yeah, we were gonna talk about rules, I guess, a little bit, which was mainly like, where can the most widely accepted CEDH tournament rules be found? Like, because like we said, it's a community format, but there are some places where like you can go and say like, hey, this is what everyone's doing. This is what you
Mhm.
should read to understand what's going on at the tournaments.
I love that you asked that because I just set up the Doom of Fools top deck to run tournaments, and it's literally right there when I start the tournament. You have tournament rules, and then you have the new rules. You know about the commander, and you can take something back. It literally has the 10 rules right there. And like
Yeah,
it's so I'll put a link in the description below. It's literally like MTR something, like there's a website, but Top Deck
The
has
MTR
them.
IPG.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do, yeah, the
what's it
MTR,
called?
what's it
Boogie,
called
what's it
again?
called?
The MTR IPG.
Yeah,
That's what you just
Um
type that into
it's
Google,
it's
MTR.
the so it's on Top Deck's website.
yeah,
You
Okay.
said you have it somewhere
yeah.
as
I'll have
well.
to find it. So when I do my tournament the 28th, I'm literally gonna read the 10 rules because it's like, hey guys, we're da 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 da. I could probably find it in a second if you want me to read
It's
them
like the
Yeah.
all.
Ten Commandments, bro.
Right.
I can link it.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just read a couple of them just to make it easier. It's just gonna fuck up my recording.
Well, can you like there's specifically some that deviate from 60 card, and I think those are the really important ones, like the takebacks thing, because
Yeah,
that's
this is
something
the
that's come up
command.
before, and people have no idea that
What
this is
he's
a
talking
thing. You
about, this
know?
is the Commander new MTR. This is like the main
Yeah.
rules that you need to know. Like sitting down at a
Yeah.
tournament, this is what we're doing, blah 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 blah. I'll just read it. So it says competitive REL MTR IPG addendum for Commander events. So I'll just read a couple. MTRA 2.1, a match consists of a single game of Magic. In the event the game would naturally result in a draw, the match is considered to have ended in a draw. MTRA 2.2, players are seated in a predetermined order established by pairing software with seat 1 as a starting player. MTR 2.3, commanders are revealed prior to shuffling and presenting decks. A game should not start until all players are present or 5 minutes have elapsed in the round. 2.4, when time is called, the active player finishes their turn and there are no additional turns. The game ends when the active player passes a turn. If a non-active player is acting in the end step of the active turn when time is called, the excuse me, the turn becomes the final one. 2.5. During a multiplayer game, players are encouraged to concede while they have priority and the stack is empty on their own turn. A player who needs to concede at any other time will be dropped the event and must talk to a tournament organizer in order to re-enter. In this case, a judge will facilitate any mandatory actions of the conceded player until the stack is empty. In the event this happens in response to combat, the turn will be facilitated until end of combat. So that's like the main mechanics, and I'll read just the 4 rules. So any player receiving a bye will have 3 opponents added to their opponent's history with a 0.02 win rate percentage. Clarification on hidden information. Hidden information is a resource to be shared at the controlling player's own discretion and may be shown as many players as they choose. If a player is shown the face or faces cards in a hidden zone, they may not display those cards to anyone at the table who does not have permission to see them. Players are, however, free to communicate this information both verbally on through written notes. The active players, so 4.1, the active players may request the table to stop excessively influencing game actions to progress play. Failure to do so may result in a unsporting conduct minor penalty. And the last one I want to read, 4.8, addition to reversing decisions, because CEDH is a social game, players can influence others in order to allow for fast and natural play. Players may do so after an action has been taken in order to convince that action controller to change their mind. This will naturally result in that player gaining new information, but if that information was shared in service of the decision being reversed, a judge may allow that player to do so. The judge must be sure the information was given in order to change the current play. But that's the biggest thing that rule just said. The judge. You cannot go Swords to Plowshares. Spooky can be like, hey man, take it off the stack because of this. And I go, okay, cool, I'll take it off the stack. That is not how that works. You need to call the judge, and the judge needs to make sure a lot of things happen the right way. No risk studies were drawn. No further information has been happened.
Right?
The judge is not going to let you talk about Swords of Plowshares for 15 minutes and let everybody show their hands and yap for 15 minutes. That is not how that works. It needs to be boom, boom, boom. Other actions cannot be taken of, oh, what about this or what about that? What if I do this? No, that's collusion. So it's instantly what happens is Swords of Plowshares. Spooky goes, hey man, take that off the stack because I think if you do that, Cuh's going to untap and win with his commander. And I'll be like, okay, cool.
Right.
I'm going to try to take this back. And I'm going to go, judge, this is the situation. Stop the time. This is the situation. I'm taking this back because of this. The judge is going to ask all the table, if that's what happened, has there anything but happened, and then the judge will say yes or no on the take back. That is the biggest misconception right now is, oh, there's takebacks in tournaments. No, that's not how that works. The judge says yes or no on that. And also, you can't have too many of those. The judge is not going to let you do that 20 times in one game. Like, they're going to get frustrated. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about time.
Shit, unless it's that 11-hour game.
That's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, I don't want to get into all that. That's my bad. That's my bad. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention that a little bit. So pretty much what happened, the misconception was, so the players were yapping and the judge were like, hey, make a game action. If you don't make a game action, you're going to pass priority. So they wouldn't make a game action. They pass priority. Instead of saying that, the judge should have said, you are going to get a MTR, or what's it called? rules violate are
GRV.
GRV. You're going to get a GRV if you do not make a game action instead of saying pass priority. So 3 game actions, you get a turn skip, or 2 or 3. And then you go on from there. The judges did not do that, and they showed favor to Gold Sabertooth because they're like, hey guys, in 11 hours we have to draw because he has to go do a plane ride. So that is 100% on the TO judges and players. So now all these people are like, oh my God, 11-hour game. It's like that 100% could have been prevented. 100%. No, nobody ever gave them GRVs. The judges never stepped in and said, you have a turn skip because you're yapping for 5 hours. Like, that never happened, and that's on that tournament.
Dude, it's so weird because my YouTube feed since then has been filled with like 60 card players that are like streamers just gloating about the fact that it
Oh
happened.
my
Like I didn't know that
God.
there was like beef between 60 card and CDH. I had no idea.
It's a nightmare. It's
like
a
why,
nightmare.
bro?
Yeah, I know. It's a nightmare.
They're like, this is why CDH is a joke, and I've always said this, and it's a dumb format, and like
it's a
I'm so
made-up
sick playing.
format. They're all made-up formats.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. That's kind of funny. But that does kind of transition into my next big thing that I was going to ask when we talk about the takebacks and all that is I wanted to talk about draws, bro, not the time-based ones because I feel like they're pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You know, although there is that weird like new rule, you know, where you're like you used to get infinity time at your last turn. Now it's what, 20 minutes?
Yep.
Right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, Spooky.
Yeah, which is
you
cool.
want to get into that, Spooky?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, it's been night and day as well. I didn't think it was gonna work, but everybody I've talked to says, bro, it literally. So every round, say there's 20 games in a round, it would probably be half of them draw. Now it's like a game or two would draw every round.
Yeah,
so it's significantly different.
My personal opinion is that it still should be 30 minutes because 20 is very tight.
It's just a weird number, right?
It is. I really
number.
like it. It's been a good rule, I think, overall. That last turn does get like very intense though. You're like, please make a game action. Please make a game action.
Yeah, in this meta, because it's like, oh, we're joking, everything's cool. Oh shit, we only have 20 minutes left. Oh shit, time's round now. Oh, now y'all want to give a shit about the time? Like, now I'm going for it. Now you guys care. Like, get out of here, bro. Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of yapping sometimes. Like I haven't been to these tournaments that you guys are talking about, but like we were talking about the other day, how like somebody can be like extremely nice and like charm you into letting them win the game, dude. Like I think that's kind of funny, dude. Like, cause we totally let some guy win a game the other day because he was just so friendly about it. He was like, "Hey, I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna win on my turn, guys, but you guys are sick." And we were just like,
"Let this grand bullshit resolve." And me and Cut were like, "Fuck yeah, all right."
Yeah, and then the other guy next to him was like, "Yeah, fuck everyone, I hate you, fuck you," and we were like, "All right, dude, we don't want that guy to win."
That guy's not winning ever. So I literally had interaction for that guy, but I was like, "You're not gonna win? I believe you. It's just a grand abolisher.
I believe him.
What all can happen?" Yeah,
grand abolisher. He said he might win. He didn't say he's going to win, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he fucking just wins.
He might not.
Then he just wins. He's like, "All right, I'll see you guys later."
And me and Cut, we weren't mad at all. We were like, "Nah, good game." Because the fourth guy didn't say anything ever. So we're like, well, that guy's definitely not winning. Fuck this guy. Because I can literally stop the grand abolisher, but that guy's going to untap with pretty much a silence effect. And I'm like, well, that's never going to happen. And I was so, because that guy was cool all game. I was so like, hey, if you win, you win. It's cool. Like,
that's fine, dude.
That's how cool that guy was.
Win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but so, time-based draws, cool. Makes sense. But I guess what I've been calling, I don't know if there's a name for them, but like interaction-based draws where like you hold the table hostage or like something along those lines, that's an incredibly contentious subject. I've noticed, not just from like the quote unquote old head types, but I actually I have a friend who like one of the people that's been getting me into CDH along with like you, that I've known for a long time. And like he's very established into this shit, and he's still just like, yeah, fuck it. Like I'm not accepting draws. Like I don't care where I am or what tournament I'm in. I'm not doing it. Like I think it's bad for the format. I don't give a shit that it's part of the game and that there's points associated with it. He's like, I'll eat the points to just say no to the draw. And it's like, so it's
probably
definitely
not winning
contentious.
Tournaments. Yeah.
Probably not, bro. But he doesn't give a shit. He's
100%.
like, that's how contentious it is.
Well, it's
he's
toxic. I want to hear what Spooky's got to say about this, but the biggest thing is like, pretty much what we're talking about is a pack negation thing. Hey, bro, I won't go for it. I have a pack negation on his turn, and it's been like 25 minutes in the round. Obviously, I can't pay for pack negation, right? But he's winning. So I'll cast this pack. Do you guys agree to draw? And the guy's winning is like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Like it is so goddamn toxic, but that's where we're at because especially in big tournaments, that 1 point draw is everything. Because when you have 19 people that have 12 points and now you got to hope and pray to the breaker gods that you get in, you don't want that. It's like, damn, maybe I should have drew that game, right? That's what you don't want. But it is very toxic, especially in the early game, to force a draw like that. But Spooky, how do you feel about that? And do you think is there a way to we could change that, and how would you help a new player like Cudge to try to figure out that situation as well?
For sure, yeah. I want to start this by saying I do dislike the fact that that is how the format has gone. But at the same time, it is how the format has gone, right? So
Yeah,
we have
we have to
to
eat our Wheaties.
adapt to
We're
that.
here.
We have
Yeah.
to play it. Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we're backed into a corner, right?
Mm.
What I've started doing with my interaction, instead of offering a draw, I will offer them to not go as far as they could have previously, right? So, hey, I have this pact. I won't cast this if you agree not to win off this breach and you instead just cast your DT pass or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You see that a
so
lot
I've
in top
started
16s.
trying,
Yeah.
yeah, I've
Yeah, I wanted
started
to talk
trying
about that too.
to
Yeah.
work on deals with my interaction instead of offering draws. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but that's the direction I've been trying to go. But draws will just happen. Like
Mm.
sometimes you are backed into that corner.
And
Sometimes
natural
there's a
draws
temp
are
gone on the
okay,
stack.
right? We're okay with natural draws. We all try to
Yeah,
win in
that's
time.
great. It
That
happens.
happens. Yeah. Well, I'm talking
That's you're
about
talking about time
20,
draws.
yeah, 20 to 30 minutes into it, you don't have a win, you got stopped, the other players are just playing the game, and then now you have agency against that guy winning, and that guy doesn't have any interaction, so now the table's forced to draw, and that is so,
Yeah.
I get what your guy's saying. No, I'm never ever taking a draw. Fuck you, I don't care about winning the tournament. What Spooky's saying
Yeah.
is we all agree with you, but we're here now, we're eating shit. That's why the tournament at the 20-minute thing changed, because what happened in this Valley Flood Caller Born Upon a Win meta, nobody would go for it. Everybody has a gun to each other's head with Ristic Studies and 30 cards in their hand, and then they wait until the final turn and I'll push, and now your 80-minute game is now a 4-hour game in Swiss.
Yeah.
And that fucking blows. Instead of it ending at 9 o'clock, it ends at 4 in the morning. And nobody wants that.
Right. So
Yeah.
just real quick, because actually, one thing that I was noticing as I was getting into this and looking for information, and just playing in the local or even spell table, and looking at the rules that you can find online, there really isn't this cut and dry, bullet pointed, this is how a draw through interaction can be presented. So I just wanted to basically say is how I think I'm understanding it now is essentially the proper process of offering a draw would be you're the guy with interaction. Somebody is about to go for a win. There's some reason why you have an incentive to draw over just simply stopping him. It could be that you think you're never getting another turn, or you're just so absolutely cooked on your board state that even if it does go around, someone else is winning, and you just so happen to be the only person who can stop that win right there. So you say to the table, basically hey, I can stop this if you guys accept a draw. Otherwise, I'm going to let him win the game, right? And then from there, from what I'm understanding, the two non-active players have to agree first, and then the very last person to agree is the active player. Is that correct? Is that the correct order?
No, that's how that works at the end.
How,
So,
how do you how does it go? Because I thought that was the deal, is that the last guy who's currently the one trying to go for the win is the one that has to accept it
no,
last.
that's not how that works.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Everyone can accept at the same time in whatever order, however that works.
That's
Yeah.
You
All right.
are generally presenting a draw. Generally, the other two opponents are kind of forced into accepting it,
Yeah.
assuming nobody can stop it.
Right.
And it essentially boils down to whether the active player who is presenting a win is able to stop what you're presenting a draw with, right?
Yep.
On whether or
Right.
not they accept or decline the draw in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most cases, it's hey, bro, I have this piece of interaction for your Underworld Breach or your Thassa's Oracle. But we all know if Spooky untaps, he has known win. Okay? So I don't want to king make Spooky, right? So, hey, Spooky, and hey, fourth player, I'll counter this, right? And he'll be forced to draw, right? I'll talk to you in a second. He's forced to draw because I don't want to king make you. I'll counter this, but we got to draw. Because if not, I'm not countering it and he's winning. And Spooky's like, well, fuck, I'm definitely winning on my turn, but I'm fucked and I have no agency in the game. And the fourth player's always probably out of it. So then the guy going for it can look at his hand, because that's kind of where you're at. Is no, it doesn't go in priority like that. But normally it's convincing the other two players, and then you talk to the guy winning and you go, hey brother, they agreed to draw. I'm gonna cast this pact. Or do you want to push
And
through
then
this
he's gonna
pact?
win, right?
Do you want to push through this pact? Right? If I stop you, we all know Spooky's winning. So do you have interaction for this pact? Because all four of us have to agree. Right? If you say, like the other day that we played, hey brother, you don't have to accept the draw. Just know I do not want a king make Spooky, because I will. And if you do not agree, I'm casting this pact of negation. So two things happen. Cast your pact of negation. Let's see what happens. Okay, brother, I'm casting pact of negation. And if he ends up winning, good for you. Winning 5 points to 1 point is fucking monumental, right?
Massive, yeah.
But do not do that. Don't accept that, right? Because I'm gonna pact, and then if we give Spooky the game, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when we become tempers flare. It's like, motherfucker, I told you weren't winning. I told you I had this pact of negation. And then Spooky goes, oh, you stopped him? Well, I'm not accepting a draw on his end step. I'm just gonna win. And people get mad at people like Spooky. Motherfucker, he told you what was going on. Especially the seasoned player like me and Spooky, is if you ever play with Spooky, he knows what you're doing. He knows all the interactions that you're about to do. He knows what you're doing before you're doing it. So people like me and Spooky, hey brother, I know there's no way you're gonna win here. I know what you're trying to do. I know I can 100% stop you. You're not ready for this trick bind. I promise you, I'll show you the trick bind, right? So that 9 times out of 10 is what happens. But a lot of times people are like, nah, fuck you. I'm going to push it. Fuck a draw. And it's like, okay, cool. Now we just can't make Spooky.
Yeah.
And it makes for fights and people yelling at each other and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's very contentious for sure.
But that's the most common ground. But there is a lot of weird. There's people like your friend of, I don't care if you have $1 million in front of me. I am not drawing. I don't give a fuck. And it's like, I understand what you're saying, but we have not fixed the draw meta yet. But we're
it's
here.
Still worth a point.
We're eating shit. I agree with you, right? I 100% like my brother Barrick, right? He's going to judge my event and he does not agree with showing hands. I'm like, I understand what you're saying. That is a toxic thing. I do not agree with showing somebody my hand or my cards in my hand, but you have to get over that. It is a part of the game now. And in a tournament, I'm here to win. And as long as I don't lie, I don't fucking cheat on my wife, and I don't smack my kids, everything else is out the window. I'm here to win. I don't care that your grandma died this morning and you're upset about it. I don't care. I'm here to win. And that is the difference of casual CDH and tournament CDH. We're not your friend. We can make a deal. And then that guy goes, you know what? Don't cast pact negation. And I don't go for it. Right? Okay, cool. And then he goes for it. There is no, oh no, he lied to me. No, bitch, we're playing for money. The judge is going to tell you, don't trust your opponents. They don't have your fucking best interests at heart. So that happens as
well. So apart from that situation, another draw, like, I don't know, it wouldn't be like, but I guess like a game state draw would be that I've heard there's situations where, like, for example, like, let's say you're playing a Cascade deck or something where you're going to be or like a Storm deck where you're going to be casting a lot of spells.
Yeah.
And like two other players have Rhystic Studies on the board. Mm-hmm. I've heard of people saying like, hey, instead of me storming off and feeding both of you, why don't we just call it a draw and get out of here? And like, but that one seems to be even more of a gray area where, like, I've heard things like this, but I've also heard people say, no, fuck that. You definitely don't draw in that situation. So what's going on with that, and what's your take on those kind of situations?
Yeah, what do you got, Spooky?
Usually if you are able to try and present a win in that manner, I would. That's kind of weird. It's like a weird area, yeah.
Well, he plays Zuladoc. That's why he's asking.
I saw your example for Zuladoc. If you're playing Zuladoc, I think I would try and push through it. If you can continue to cascade through your deck like that, right?
Yeah.
And feed
I
two
would
Rhystics.
try and push through it because what you're eventually going to hit, right, is these big mana rocks. A, that can pay for Rhystic. B, that will, I assume there are loops to make infinite mana in that deck.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
yeah, and
yeah.
I'll hit Chamil, I'll hit Conqueror's Flail and stuff like that. It was actually not something that happened to me specifically. It was just I was when I was researching draws and like all the
Yeah.
nuanced situations where they could come up. One of the ones that was apparently somewhat common was if somebody's gonna storm off into two Rystics
Yeah.
and like they know that these people are gonna draw the counter spells to stop them, and then both of them are gonna have 15 cards in hand and they're gonna go for a win on their turn, and then the last guy's probably gonna stop the first guy, and like they're probably going to go to time.
Then turn
So it
order.
seems like
Yeah.
there's it seems like there's some situations there where the dude who's going to storm off in the first place into these two Rystics might say something like, "Hey, do you guys want to just draw? Like I know you guys are going to fucking get counter spells
Yeah,
and
I
then
guess it kind of
have
matters,
400
right?
cards in your hand." You
Yeah,
know?
it's situational, right? I feel like Rockside 90% of the time is gonna push because they have protection. They're in blue,
Yeah.
but like a mono white or Mardu is very popular, or like Rakdos where they have like no interaction. It's like deflecting spot. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this breach line, feed you 8 cards, but I'm gonna try to win before you one of those 8 cards is a free interaction. That's kind of
Yeah.
the idea. But it's 100%. It's like, brother, I'm gonna mystical tutor and get a mind break trap if you go crazy. But and then like Spooky said, like your colors deck, you probably go for it. But that is very situational. That's one of those weird things because like what do you say, 60-70% of games, they're not the same, but they're like when you're playing your deck, it's
Yeah.
genuinely like, oh, we're 600, blah, 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 blah. But there's 40% of games where you're like, what the fuck is it? We played a game the other day,
Yeah.
Spooky. What was that fucking 4-mana green card?
4 mana green card
It was the
with
one,
me.
it ETBs and it destroys target artifact or enchantment your opponent controls and you can't target it, right? I think, remember that, Kuh?
No.
Nick
You about
Destructo
Druid
did it.
of Purification?
Yeah, yeah, and he copied it like
Oh yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
5-6 times. And it was like,
Yeah.
what the
It
fuck?
just
But
blew up. Yeah.
it just put us in this weird thing of it was 1v3 trying to fuck the Kennen player up. So then I was like, I'm not gonna pick
Which
anybody
is good
because
because
he's
we
the
hate Kinnan.
yeah. I was like, I'm not going to pick anything because Rogthras is probably in the lead right now. At first it was, right? So then Kennen goes,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Cuz like, yeah, I agree. But then Kennen, right? Kennen pops off. So then he copies it again his next turn. And I go, okay, copy Kennen's thing. Kennen's like, hey, I won't copy anything. And Cuz like, hey, should I get rid of this Phyrexian Metamorph even though he's not like winning right now? And it was like this weird thing of no, not really, because it's still 1v3. And then the next turn he copied it again, copied it in, copied it again. It was just this weird game that I'll probably never play again ever. But it was just those weird you
Yeah,
can't
that's the
you
fun
can't
part, right?
prepare for that. Yeah, there's so much
That was sick. It
nuance in
was
this
that was a really
format.
fun game, honestly. That was
Yeah,
sick.
there's so much nuance. So it's there. A lot of these questions, there isn't gonna be just an answer. Just boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. A lot of these questions, you're just like when I say,
The
go,
waters are muddy.
yeah, probably like half your questions we can answer, and other half is just go to a tournament and you'll learn. But that's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Just playing CDH, like you'll come up with those.
So while we were still talking about draws, though, I did want to also ask basically, how does the situation change in top 16s? Because I think you and me have talked about this a little
Yeah,
bit, and you've alluded to it in this podcast, where it's like, yeah, this whole interaction based draw thing is cool, but that shit doesn't fly in top 16s. And then like the
exactly.
takebacks rule kind of comes into play, and like, could you explain that? I guess
Exactly what.
exactly how things
Yeah,
somehow
I'll let
change.
Spooky talk about it because he's a better player. But pretty much what Spooky said
Yeah.
was, "Hey, just you cast your breach, right? Cast your breach. I'm holding this for fucking Kennen's next turn because God knows we fucking need it. He's gonna win. Can you just not win with breach, bro? Just get a DT for interaction because those obviously they're not timed, which they are talking about timing them now after the 11-hour game, or they're gonna try to time to 3 to 4 hours, right? But that's in the future. But what do you think, Spooky? Especially in top 16s, like how does that kind of work with the draws? Because you
So
can't
yeah,
draw.
deals
The lack,
become a lot more
the
tight,
lack
right?
of draws, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
draw technically in
So
the
so
top
someone puts
16.
a win on the stack. So in a top 16, someone puts a win on the stack. You have interaction. You think the next guy's going to win, but you can't draw. You can't offer the draw in the top 16. So now this is where the take back things comes into play. So how do you handle that? You just call a judge over immediately and be like, "Yeah, watch this and like let's try to get this take back to happen," or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So first step should be, hey, I have this interaction that can stop you. Um, let's either try and take this back or try and not push it as far as we both know that you can. Right.
Mm.
So either resolve it and do one thing to maybe try and put yourself in a better situation or find some interaction or
What's
whatever.
happening?
or
I'll
let's
keep
just take
talking.
it back and you can try it again later, right? Um, so obviously, if you plan on taking it back, you would call a judge. Hey, this is what's happening. Blah blah blah. Right? We've already went over that, but um, oftentimes you can work out a deal where hey, they have specifically with Underworld Breach, right? They have like a gamble in their yard or something. They can gamble for like a fierce guardianship or something and pass according to the deal because hey, I can stop you. Sometimes that'll backfire. Sometimes they'll just win anyway, right? Because it is a format where you can't always trust your opponents, and
Mhm.
they don't always have your best interest, of course, because they are
Especially in
playing
top
for money.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird,
Um,
but yeah, it makes sense.
it's a weird dynamic, but
It is.
sometimes you just have to trust your opponents, right? Um,
Yeah, so wild.
it
Um,
is, yeah.
yeah. So I guess like to summarize, really, it's like once you get the top 16s and the draws are no longer allowed, you get into take back situations. The dude puts the win on the stack. You show the interaction. Hey, don't do that. Maybe you call a judge over to confirm the take back, and then try to get another round around the table, and that's the best you can do. You hold up interaction for the next guy, and
All about
that's
tight
the
windows.
game.
Yep.
The game
Yeah.
continues.
But a lot of
Yeah.
times,
So
like
that
Spooky
actually,
said, hey,
yeah,
motherfucker, bring it. Like, I got interaction because I have 40 cards in my hand because I've been sitting on
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
fucking, and then you just go, and then that's a nightmare situation, right? But 100%. It's like,
It's an 11-hour situation. Yeah.
that's, there's no goddamn way y'all can have my money. There's no chance I'm there for. I
Dude,
played a 4 hours final and I was ready to walk away.
I would sit there like a fucking sucker for the full 11 hours. I know I would, dude. I would just sit there and be like, uh-huh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
What's
pass,
happening now?
pass,
I
yep.
pass priority.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, cool,
I
cool.
have interaction. Okay. Oh, it's been 11 hours. I would
Yeah.
totally sit there, dude. I know I would. I
All right,
fucking know it, dude.
we're
That gives me my next question though, which was going to be about calling over a judge. What's up with that? How do you call over a judge? What can they
judge,
actually do? Like,
Judge!
what are their
judge.
Just raise your
powers?
hand, raise a
What
judge,
are
right?
their powers? What the fuck is a penalty? Like,
All
what do
right,
I care if I get a penalty? Like,
let's
what does it
hear it,
matter?
Cuh. Let's hear you call a judge.
Sir,
Nope.
Sir.
fucking Garcon, dude. No, I
Ah,
gotta say it. Judge,
you gotta raise it as
That's
high as
it.
you can,
Raise your arm and
judge.
yell judge.
Because
There
again,
All right.
is
we're timed,
also
right?
Yeah.
on the top deck software, they have implemented a judge function as well where you can call a
Just
judge
press a
through the
button, dude, and
software.
he just gets an
Yeah.
electric shock in his neck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
bro.
like, oh,
Which
table four
which
needs.
will come in handy at the very large events, right?
Yeah, the
Because
large
Yeah.
sometimes
events when
that'll be quicker
there's
to
6
flag
judges
down a
and 80
judge. Yeah.
tables. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. Scream judge, let him know the situation, and then a thing I did want to note, like a lot of new players don't know, is if say you have an interaction in your hand, you don't know how it works, or say there's something that you don't like, there's a rule you don't know about, and you don't want your opponents to know what you're trying to plan on. I do this all the time, probably once a tournament. Say, judge, can I talk to you over there real quick? I have a question about something, right? And you can be like, hey, judge, I have this card. Does this card do this thing? And judge says yes or no. So come back to the table, right? You do not have to tell them what you told the judge. Like, hey guys, he clarified something. Okay, we're good to go. Because I have this weird interaction spell like deflecting spot. Did you know deflecting spot can grab a mind break trap, even though if mind break trap's targeting 9 things, you deflecting spot the mind break trap and target whatever you want. So little nuance rules like that you didn't know, that you don't want your table to know that you have a deflecting spot in hand, right? But that's when you go ask the judge away from the table. But a lot of times the judge is going to come to the table like, hey, I think that guy's slow playing. Instead of making it awkward and making that guy against me to remove my commander, because people do that, I'm going to go talk to the judge. But hey, man, can you watch this table for me? I think they're doing slow play. I think that guy's cheating. I appreciate it. And judge will go, okay. And judge is going to walk over. He's going to say resume the game, and he's going to stand there for the next 30 minutes.
And then what are the penalties? Like, what power do they have? Like, what do I care? You know what I mean? Like, what can they do to you exactly? And I'm not talking if you're blatantly cheating and they're like, "Hey, you're fucked. Get out of here." I mean, like,
It's
what
situational.
if you're what are the types of penalties that exist?
So
I
you got
guess.
GRVs, right? You have cheating.
What is that?
So I don't know, Spooky, do you know this? I feel like I'm doing all the talking.
I don't have much experience with it, right?
Okay,
So GRVs are issued when your opponent is repeatedly, especially in comp. My problem is I don't know the difference between the small differences between like
okay.
pro REL, comp REL.
So pro RL, comp
Casual.
RL. So pretty much we play in comp, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah. So comp is pretty much, okay, the judges expect you to know what your cards do in your deck. The judge holds you to that in comp REL. And pro REL in like
Yeah.
the pro tour, pro REL is you'll get a GRV, a game rules violation, for anything. If you have 2 or 3 of those, then there's penalties, right? So say you look at the top card of your deck on accident. That's in pro REL, that's a GRV. You get 2 of those, where you get 1 of those, we're writing it down. You get 2 of those.
GRV is game rules violation.
Correct, right.
Yes.
Okay,
But
got it.
say you draw off a heuristic study and you shouldn't have. Pro REL, you might get a turn skip for that, right? And
A turn skip.
yeah.
So hold on. They can say, hey,
Yes.
you don't get a turn. Okay. But that's
That-
fucking serious.
that
So
is
like at what
new.
point are they telling you don't get a turn?
So that's the weird nuance thing, right? So pro REL and competitive REL. So competitive REL, the judges expect you to know what your cards do, and pro REL, you're expected to know every single card in this format and knows what's going on, and if you fuck up, that is on you. They hold you to the highest ability. But we play in competitive REL, right? So you need to know what your cards do. So if, say you have a Drannith Magistrate and he casts an Underworld Breach, who's that on? That is on you. You control the card. Your card says he cannot cast stuff from exile, right? That's not from his hand. And he does the breach line. Is the guy doing the breach line in trouble, or are you in trouble because you have the Drannith and you didn't see that? See,
Drannith player.
that's the difference. Is that cheating? That's kind of, that is every situation is different, right? But if you go, hey judge, I think Spuki is cheating. All right, the judge is going to talk to you separately. He's going to talk to the table. They're going to talk to Spuki. Hey, I think he's playing 2 Thassa's Oracles in his deck. That's super simple. Check.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's got 2 Thassa's Oracles. He's kicked from the tournament. But if, like, say I'm yelling and I called you Stinky Poo Poo Man and that offended you, you tell the judge, and he's probably going to get a serious GRV where, hey, brother, you do that again, you're getting a turn skip. Or I'm giving you a turn skip now, and if you do it another time, I'm kicking you from the tournament. Like turn skips, instead of kicking from the not kicking from the tournament. So you have a regular GRV, was pretty much a warning. The second is a turn skip. The third is you lose the game, and the fourth is kick from tournament. That's the most basic thing. But
yeah, so there's an escalating thing.
Every situation is different, though. If you scream F the N-word, you're gone from the tournament. If you get in a fight with a judge, you're gone from the tournament. It's all the judge's discretion is really
right. But if we're keeping it like civil and within the game, like what's going to happen is it sounds like you're going to get some kind of warning. They're going to come over and be like, hey, stop doing that shit.
Yeah,
and then after the stop doing that shit, then you get a turn skip. Like that's ultimately where things end up is turn skip.
Because that is huge. So, you're fucked. So say it's Spooky's turn, right? And then your turn and then my turn. If you get a turn skip, it goes Spooky's turn to my turn. You do not get to untap. You do not get to play your spells. And
you don't get to untap?
You skip your turn. But turn skip is like a huge violation where like you've drawn 5 cards on accident. But you're saying it's an accident, but your opponents think it's on purpose. You're going to get a turn skip. So it's situational.
Yeah, all right. So that makes sense.
Don't cheat.
So you call them over.
Yeah.
Don't cheat, and don't fuck up too much.
The biggest thing is, you can get a turn skip. New players don't ever call over the judge. If you do not know what's going on, if you're confused, or you don't know how much mana is in your opponent's mana pool, you can ask them to present that. If they don't present it, call the judge over. Judges are there to help you. Right? That's
and
the
to keep
biggest
the game
thing.
moving. Right?
Yeah, it's like, hey man, hold on a second. I'm gonna call the judge over, right? It's gonna be awkward. It's fine. Let me call the judge over. Let me make sure. Like we had a thing Spooky where I was fucking with him on his cascade turn. I'm like, hey brother, you have 9 minutes left, and I'm just fucking with him. I'm like, you gotta pass priority on your trigger, and da 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 da. I talked to the judge, you can't do that. As long as the judge is there, if the judge gets called over and your opponent is stalling, the judge is gonna know automatically that you're stalling, and it'll give excessive time on the clock. And that's again, there's not really an answer. That's just if I had my buddy Russell in here, like a level 2 judge, he could try to explain it. But a lot of this, there isn't like this because of this. Like every situation is different. Like shuffling your hand, your library when you tutor. A judge told me you don't have a hand unless your opponents can tell me what's in your hand. You do not have a hand now. Good job. You shuffled your hand in your library. That's fucking huge. That's
who would ever do something like that though? Who would ever shuffle their hand into their library when they were tutoring?
And that was a mistake. right? But the judge is going to be like, oh, it was a mistake. Just draw all 6 cards. Nope. How do
Yeah,
they know
no,
what
fuck
was in
no.
your hand, right? So,
Yep.
Yeah.
all right,
Well,
we're out of time. What else you got, buddy? I'm just yapping. I'm let Spooky talk
I
for the
got
rest of
not,
the time.
I got pretty much that was covered everything. The only thing I had that I had saved for you guys was basically just like some semi off topic, more fun question, which is just how do you lock in those last 3 card slots in your deck, dude? Like what's your strat for locking in the last 3? I
Well,
feel like you get like 95 cards in, 96 cards,
yeah.
and then there's these 3 motherfucking slots that are just
Before
constantly annoying you.
before we get
It's
into
like
that
how
though, did you have anything else for tournaments? I feel like I just been
No,
yapping
man,
this
that's
whole
it.
time.
That's it for me at
There's
least. Oh, you
nothing
talking to
else.
Spooky?
Yeah. Did you want to
No,
add
I'm good.
anything,
You guys
Spooky?
answered all my questions. Yeah.
Like any advice
Not
for a
that
new
I
player
can
going
think
to a
of. No.
tournament?
Oh,
Yeah.
just
Have
don't
fun.
be scared to call a judge.
I will,
Call
dude.
them.
I
They're your
fucking
friends. If you need to, if you think you need to, call them over there. Right.
yeah.
It might be like you said. It might be awkward, but like
Fuck it.
even just for you to ensure that everything is going properly, don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And don't like waste their time. Don't call them like every 5 minutes or whatever. But if you think
Yeah.
something is going improperly, then call them for sure.
Or if you don't know
Don't
what's
be afraid
going
to do
on,
that.
a lot of people are just like, "Oh, I'm just here. I'm just in a chair. I don't know what's going on ever." And it's like,
I'm just in a
that's
chair.
yeah.
This is
Oh,
excellent. This is a
the
great chair,
worst
dude. I'm
is
just
when the
happy to be
fourth
here.
player is like not do like they don't talk.
Just like
Oh, I'm not here to politic. Just play your spells. Oh, so you're just gonna be a chair? You're just gonna be the fourth
Yeah.
chair? That's awesome. Thank you
he's
so
like
much.
smoking a cigarette, dude, in the middle of the
Yeah.
thing. He's just
Yep.
yes. I
Another
pass
big
my
rule,
pen.
you cannot be on your phone for any reason unless it's an emergency and you have to call the judge to ask them to use your phone and step away. Also, you can look up an Oracle text if there's like a Japanese card, but you can't do it unless you call the judge over. And your
You have to
phone
have
has
them
to
like
be up
watch you use
here.
your phone.
Yeah, but hey, Judge, can I look at the
Crazy.
Oracle text if that's his Oracle because it's Japanese? You're like, yeah, no problem. And then you would pull it out, you would show the whole table, you would type it in Scryfall and see it. You cannot play on your phone because a lot of players, when they're like out, when they got cooked, right? I silenced a guy and he's like, oh, we're silenced. He gets back and he goes on the phone, he goes to text his wife. And the judge was like, put your goddamn phone down or you are kicked out of the tournament because you could be cheating. You could be looking up a rule. You could be looking up his list. You cannot. That's a big thing. 60 card. The list, you see them throughout the tournament. Oh, I'm playing against the Prowess deck. Let me see his list real quick. And Commander, you cannot do that. That is a big no-no. You cannot look in his list. You cannot go on your phone for any reason.
Well, do we got time to talk about that 3-card question? Or is that
Yeah.
it?
I just wanted to make sure that I felt like
Yeah.
I've been yapping. I just wanted to make sure that was everything that you wanted and you actually learned something. And
I'm
we're not
Gucci, bro.
yapping.
We're good.
Okay.
It's all good. I
And
understand.
if he wins the
My
tournament, we'll
brain
have
has
him back,
expanded.
Spooky.
Oh, that's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
So
It's not gonna happen because I'm taking Slicer, dude. I don't
Yeah.
care.
So yeah, we got about 10 minutes, Spooky. That's a question I want to ask you as well because like you're really big on like Panalaza. It's a dinosaur. When dinosaurs enter, they fucking cascade, right? And that's such a weird
Yeah.
Naya niche deck. So yeah, when you're building a deck like we're rebuilding Slicer, and 90 to 93 cards are really easy. But how do you pick those last cards, and how do you go about like testing for a deck like that, like a Slicer or a Zuladoc or whatever?
Well, even any deck in general, I feel like you
Yeah.
get like a because like where I'm at with Zuladoc right now, right? I feel like I legitimately have 1 card slot that like is really iffy, and it could be a million different things.
Yeah.
I have 2 kind of, and then I could push it to maybe 3. But those 3 card slots fucking haunt me, dude. Because every game I play, I'm like, damn, dude, it could have been this card. Damn, dude, it could have been that card. And then it's a vicious cycle. It never ends. How do you just lock it in and be like, yeah, these are the 3 cards that are going in there, and I'm taking that to tournament, you know?
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't ever have those locked in slots.
I knew it, dude.
Like a constant rotation of 10
I knew it,
cards,
dude.
bro.
It just bothers everybody.
There's always
dude?
5 for me. 5 cards.
Ugh,
There's
it's gonna
never
drive
a
me nuts, dude.
Dude, that is the hardest, especially a deck like a Slicer deck where there is no definitive list. No one's taking Slicer to tournaments. It's just you throwing shit at the wall and wondering, hoping that this random card that you found in Scryfall is good. And you're going to have that for every single goddamn deck you play. Blue Farm players are trying to figure out their last 2 cards. You're in fucking Blue Farm. It doesn't matter. You have 98 good cards. It does not matter what your 2 cards are.
Like, I really think this one could make a difference. This one could really turn the tide, dude.
Yeah. How many times, Spooky, have you tried a card in the deck and you never see it in the tournament? It's a 100-card
Yeah.
singleton.
Often, yeah.
I do that all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, oh, this tournament ain't ready for my trick bind. I played 9 games with it. Fucking top 4. Didn't see trick bind once. And people go, how was trick bind in the list? That's awesome. I don't fucking know. Don't fucking ask
Yeah,
me.
bro.
No clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, it's just an endless torment basically. Like you never make it happen. It's always being rotated. You're always thinking about the card slots. Even if you're playing the game, you're playing in tournament, you get home and you're like, yeah, man, maybe I changed these 3 cards, dude. It just never stops, huh? There's just too many
I
fucking
do.
cards.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the king of
I'm
that.
constantly changing my list.
After every
Yeah.
tournament, after
That
every
drives me
time I
crazy.
go to the LGS, the first thing I do when I get home, I unpack and go, all right, let me fuck with this list. All right, what am I missing? Why
Yeah.
did I lose twice tonight? And it's like, bro, your list is fine, bro. You're over. But that's CDH players is like, we want to fucking win. And you won 4 games
You want to
out of
solve
6.
your deck.
Yeah.
You want to solve the deck. You want to solve the
And
commander.
that's why
Like
I
I think that's like the that's the holy grail.
CDH will never
Solving
be
it.
solved because of that reason right there. And how many goddamn sets and new decks are we fucking talking about, right?
Yeah, dude, about to be playing Kefka. It's going down, dude.
Hell yeah. So real quick, last thing I wanted to say, I believe this video will come out a week after Final Fantasy's official release. So are you guys excited for Final Fantasy? And then is there any commanders you're brewing, Spooky? Because I know me and Cuh are excited.
I'm excited.
There are no specific commanders I'm brewing, but I am excited for the 1-drop counter spell that's coming out for Rog. It's like sack a legendary creature, counter a non-creature, or stifle something, right?
Bleh.
It's good with Rog. Good with Rog.
That's what Rog needs is another goddamn free thing.
He needed that to be good.
You know what's you see that land? I think that land is gonna be something. The one where it comes in
Starting
tap.
town?
I don't know. It comes in tap if it's not the first, second, or third, and then tap for any mana.
Yeah.
Third turn, right?
I think it'll be played. I think there are a few cards that will be played in our format in the set.
Okay.
I'm playing Ultima. Ultima's going right in my deck, dude.
Colorless
That card
deck?
slaps.
Slam
Fuck yeah,
dunk.
dude. Dude, I put Greaves on that shit, and I'm just like, you
Yeah.
no longer have a Gaia's Cradle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Boom, gone.
Yeah,
Have fun.
Yeah, my first gameplay video is coming out actually tomorrow, and he did that. Sisei plays a Cradle, and we're like, uh-oh, he has Cradle act as a Soul Cauldron, and Cuz like,
I was like, everyone calm down.
Yeah. No, I got this. So we're like, how the fuck you can deal with Cradle? I got Ultima, Lightning Greaves, get rid of that. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah, he ended up sacrificing the Cradle later. I was just like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sacking a Cradle's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm stoked for the set though. I think it's like I've granted I haven't played CEDH that long, but of the sets I've seen released, it seems to have like the highest density of like actual strong cards that I've seen so far out of the last like 3 sets. Granted, I wasn't here for the Lord of the Rings set. I know that had some strong shit, but
yeah,
Lord of the Rings, like
Modern Horizons
shifted the
3.
meta.
Modern Horizons 3 was probably like for staples, probably the biggest set that we had since Lord of the Rings. But this set,
I don't think I was playing.
it was about a year ago. Yeah, maybe.
I wasn't fucking around.
I don't
October,
remember.
bro.
Yeah, I don't remember. But this set,
I'm a young man, dude.
I can't remember. I've been playing for 3-4 years. I can't remember a set that had so many CDH commanders. You have 3
Yeah, there's a lot.
CDH commanders that could be in top 20 already. You have Noctis, Kefka, and Vivi. Those are going to be decks to be reckoned with. And then you have another
so sick.
3 to 4 commanders that could possibly be like B tier. So that's 4 to 8 commanders. Like no set has that. Maybe a set has maybe 1 or 2 CDH commanders, maybe at the most. So I just think it's funny, like how many cards in the 99 are there in this set? 2 or 3, like staples. I mean, not just niche decks, like staples, maybe 2. So I just think it's awesome that this set has more commanders than actual staples, and we haven't had that. And then I think the Sisei decks, those 5-color Joda legendary decks, the colorless decks, I think they're all just gonna get better because there's gonna be more legendaries and more colorless bullshit. I think it's a good time to be a CDH player for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a consequence of Wizards like picking up CEDH and like actually paying attention to Commander. You know, they're like, you know what, dude, we're gonna start fucking designing things for this now.
Well, it's been
You
about
know, like,
Commander for 5 years, but you mean CEDH.
Well, CEDH, yeah, we're gonna start designing things for CEDH.
Well,
now,
look at the
you know?
reprints. 90% of the reprints of like the Thrasios and the Kennen,
Yeah, they're all,
90%
like,
of those
fucking
reprints are
CEDH cards.
CDH commanders or staples. Like, yeah, they
Yeah.
have like Lauren of the Third Path and random butt cards. Like
You
they
excited for the new Rhystic study art?
Rhystic Study, Thrasios, and Najeela. I'm buying as soon as it comes, and they're going to be $1 trillion. And they're like, so what happened with Final Fantasy is that it was a modern set. They're going to make it a modern set, and they're like, all right, so what do we do? It's with modern. And then they realized, oh, well, let's just make it standard legal. And then they realized, because they want to make, so this set has already made most money ever. It like blew Lord of the Rings out of the water. So now they're like, how do we make the most money? Because I don't know what it's called, but like the licensing to do this from Final Fantasy. So the reprints of the Commander were an afterthought. That was like the last thing that they did. They're like, how are we going to make a lot of money from this set? And then they figured it out. The Thrasios, the Timnas, all those are minimum $100 each.
Yeah.
So that's why the collector boxes are going to be $700, $800. And that is diabolical. But I digress.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I digress.
Word.
But we got to do this again for sure. I feel like we just yapped. And then maybe, I think you're going to do 2-3 tournaments in the next month or two, Cuh. Maybe we revisit this. And hey, what'd you learn? Is there any more rules that you got? Right? So,
Yeah.
Spooky, was there anything you wanted to plug? I felt like I've just been yapping over you. Are you going to any tournaments
Not in particular.
in the
No,
future?
I am.
You going to the 20K?
So I'm going to the MV. I'm excited. I should be locked for it.
I thought they just
We
had that.
made it to the top deck MV.
Oh, the top deck NB. Okay. Two different
Yeah,
NBs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that should be the same
Panelaza, baby.
place and weekend as the top deck or as the
20K. Yeah.
They should both be in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, yeah. I wish. The dream.
And there are like several local tournaments I'll be going to before.
I don't think people understand 20K and prizes, what that means.
Oh yeah, you're a Steelers fan.
Oh, it's
That's
a lot.
why.
Have you not seen my
Yeah, it
leg?
makes sense now. Nah, I've never actually looked at your leg.
Do I got to put my leg in the camera? I will if you want to.
You won't do it, dude. No balls. You won't. You absolutely won't do it.
All right. So, anyways. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
Oh,
There it is.
nice leg, bro.
Oh,
Look
you
at that,
like,
bro.
You like that. Fat boy.
Oh, jeez.
It's my fucking
Pause.
channel. I'll fucking put my butthole on it. What are you talking about?
You won't do it,
So,
dude.
all right. Spooky's going to take down the 20K. That's Cuh. You got anything else, Cuh?
No.
No, you're done. You quit.
No.
Yeah, my
That's it.
fucking.
Well,
nuts are
that's
sore.
it. Nope.
All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna come back maybe in a month or two. We're gonna do this again. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. June 28th, the Doom of Fools. We got another tournament going. Cuh's gonna be there. Spooky's definitely not gonna be there. He's like, fuck Florida.
We'll fly him in, dude. We'll fly him in.
Fly him in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. It's
That's
all,
where you're gonna. Eventually, you're
10-hour
gonna get to the
drive.
point where you start flying people in, dude. That's where Doom of Fools ends up eventually, dude.
Dude,
You're
that's
like, you
the
know what? We'll
dream.
comp you, dude. Just we'll fly you in. We got a
100%.
hotel. We'll
I'll
come
fly
play,
in
dude.
Comedian
Come play
and
the Doom of
Spooky.
Fools tournament, dude.
Yeah.
We got the 10K,
Huge.
Doom of Fools 10K,
I'll be
dude. Come on
there.
in.
Yeah. No, that's like a thing because of hey, I'll fly you in, but can I put Spooky is coming to the tournament? And they'll put it on the
Yeah.
flyer, like if Spooky's like the best player.
Yeah.
Like Comedian and Wounded do that all the time. Freedom Awful, he's like, hey, if I take some pictures, will y'all just pay for my entry? And they're like, yeah, sweet. So like that does happen. Like if we get big enough,
Hype,
I'm flying Spooky in. Spooky's like,
Yeah.
I want a hotel.
Huge.
Nah, buddy, you're sleeping with me, buddy. Spooky's like,
That works. That works.
Damn, dude. You're getting flown in, but you have to be
As
Little
long
Spoon,
as I
dude.
can see
Sorry.
that tattoo, brother.
Damn, dude. Crazy.
That's
Yeah, you
for
guys want me
free.
to get out of here, bro? So you guys.
All right. That's been Doom of Fools. That's Spooky. That's Cuh. Y'all have a good day. Peace.